Hey everyone, Neil here. Gonna do a little quick install slash demo video of the BillyM Shiftgasm. Yep, it's called the Shiftgasm shifter kit for the W series Toyota transmissions like that are in my Celica Supra. Let me focus here. I'm using manual focus because I hate the sound of the autofocus motor. With that out of the way, this is going to be more of a sort of an overview and demonstration than a install instruction video. He's got pretty good instructions on the website at w58bushings.com, so I don't feel like I need to cover that as much. However, I will take some pictures and video clips throughout the process to sort of give you an idea of what's going on. But in the first place, the problem with the W series transmissions like this W58, they get a lot of slop in the shifter, as do most cars of the era. They wear out. This is an 84, so you get the idea. In third gear, I've got about this much play. Feels like that. Fourth and second are really close. If you hold the shifter just right, you almost can't tell which of the two gears you're going into. It can be a little annoying if you're trying to get out of fifth into fourth and you bump second accidentally and you're like, whoop, and you got to go back and you've missed your shift, and yeah, not good, but everybody knows that. So BillyM has made a kit available on his website that consists of the seat from the Marlin Crawler website, I believe. It's for Toyota transfer cases, much like the one on my 4Runner. It also has a little knuckle bit for the end of the shifter, the little ball and socket deal at the end. And he's also had custom made, I believe, this brass insert that goes into the forget the name of it, but it's part of the shifter in there. I'll show you when we get in there. And this eliminates a lot of the play, apparently. So, never had this particular transmission apart before. Don't know what the shifter looks like inside except for the pictures in his instructions. So we're going to get in there. I've already got my interior mostly disassembled. Screws are out of everything. I've been into it working on my climate control system, which is nearly as annoying as a 70s Mercedes automatic climate control, but less mechanical and more difficult to diagnose. I know exactly what's wrong with it now, so I'm going to have to put everything back together anyway until I get the nerve up to take the whole dashboard apart so I can remove the actual climate control unit here, which has a bad sort of like a potentiometer, sort of a slider in the temperature selector, but that's neither here nor there. I'll be back in a minute when I got all this stuff pulled out. Well, I've got the shifter out. It looks pretty chewed up there. Not much plastic left in the little focus up there. Not much plastic left in that little ring he talks about, and the seat's pretty much gone, and yeah, pretty much the usual. So get all the crap out of there and keep whittling away. I actually got pretty lucky with the little layer of rubber and metal that you gotta sort of peel out of the little collar in there, the little boss that the shifter sits into, little pin sits into, and let's focus this here. Can't really see all that well. Let me get a light here. But basically what's down in there is a little collar, and over the years the plastic on the inside of it wears away, and you're basically just left with a little ring of metal with another ring of metal on the inside with rubber in between it, if that makes any sense. And that's all that little cup on the end of the shifter is actually touching. Cup by cup, I mean this little piece, which is a little bit harder plastic on the stock shifter, but this goes on the very end down here, and that just sits into that, I'm saying a couple lot, the little collar down in there that actually moves the gears inside the transmission. So once all that plastic wears away in there, you're just left with that ring of metal that I just pulled out with my pliers. And that's no good. That's where your slop's coming from. And this is the seat. Pretty deteriorated. Still pliable, but yeah, it's pretty much gone. So this is going to feel much better when I get it done. I think I've got the little collar in there pretty cleaned out. It's hard to tell without any extra light, even though it's pretty bright in here. Phone there. Stupid loud autofocus there for you. Completely inept with the light, aren't I? But yeah, it's pretty clean. I got down in there with a little very fine sandpaper and buffed off some of the rubber that was left. I think it's good enough. BillyM recommended I use JB Weld or some sort of RTV. I've got some black RTV with me right there, but I'm going to go look and see if I have any JB Weld. Also, I'm going to take this to a bench and see if I can clean it up a little bit, because it is filthy in there. Get it all prepped, put the new little nub on the end there, and I'll get ready to throw this all back together. Alright, I got that cleaned up down in there with a little bit of rubbing alcohol around the edges of that cup in there, or ring, whatever, so it's nice and free of oil. This is the little brass bushing, of course. I'm going to clean it up with some alcohol too, but it's pretty damn clean in the first place. I've got the shifter all cleaned up in there, all the crap from the seat that deteriorated, all the plastic crud that's just caked in there, and a little nubbin on the end. And probably going to seal this against the top of the transmission with some of that black RTV, but for the bushing, I actually did find some quick weld, JB quick weld, and I'll probably use that for the little bushing down in there, like he said worked best. So that should be fine. Go ahead and get that cooking up here in just a second. A little card. Yeah, it's actually going pretty well. Not hard at all. Alright, back in view. Well, it's in there. Little JB Weld. Some, well, damn it. Some work with the pliers. I'm going to go to manual mode. Stuck it right down in there as intended. And, being as it's JB Weld, it just needs to sit there for about 5 or 6 minutes or so, and it'll be, all nice and set in there. So that's that. That wasn't so bad. Now I just gotta wait for a little bit and put it all back together. Alright, so I was just putting this little seed in there, and just like Billy said, I did have to file the edges down a little bit to get it to go in there good, but it fits snug now and flush all the way down in there. But yep, did have to file it. That's normal. Transfer cases have a little bit more play than these transmissions, apparently. Just use this big file. It's what is it? Handy file. Nicholson handy file. I think is what it is. Yeah, Nicholson handy file. Great file. Beside the point. That's in there now. So let's see how that JB Weld's doing, and keep plugging. Here's my RTV I'm going to put on there. Just to seal it up, because it originally had some sort of like paper gasket in the top, but it's deteriorated. I pulled it out, cleaned that surface up on the shifter over here, and that'll be good. Okay. It's in there. It's all done, supposedly. Can't really see how well I'm focusing in live view, but look at that. Yep. Nice and snug. Keep in mind, I waited like 15-20 minutes for the JB Weld to set in there before I started shifting or anything like that. But oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to feel. Perfect. Yeah, I can't recommend that enough. But yeah, highly recommended. Definitely get you one if you got one of these old Celica Supras. And tell BillyM I sent you.